Fed hike talk, Bitcoin bounce, Macron defeated, what's moving markets? The dollar remains bid after a Federal Reserve respectable argues for some other 75 foundation point hike in July. Germany restarts its coal-fired energy stations and could introduce an auction scheme to lessen its gas consumption after Gazprom cut elements by using 60% final week. Emmanuel Macron loses his parliamentary majority in France, whilst China passes up an possibility to loosen financial policy. Bitcoin bounces after dipping underneath $18,000 on the weekend, but oil's sell-off keeps as fears of a recession meet a moderate improvement in the deliver outlook. Here's what you need to recognize in economic markets on Monday, June 20th. 1. Dollar stays bid as Waller argues for some other 75 BP hike. The dollar stayed close to the 19-year high it published final week after a Federal Reserve legitimate stated he wants every other 75 foundation factor rate hike at its assembly in July. If the information comes in as I count on, I will aid a similar-sized pass at our July meeting, Washington, D.C.-based Totally Governor Christopher Waller stated on Sunday. However, Waller, a noted hawk, additionally regarded to take a complete percentage point hike off the table, announcing there had been limits to how rapid the Fed can circulate. Elsewhere, Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester instructed CBS it would take years to convey inflation right down to the Fed's 2% target, and acknowledged that the Fed's delayed reaction to the threat had raised the hazard of a U.S. recession. 2. Germany restarts its coal-fired energy stations after gas resources reduce. Germany said it will restart a few coal-fired electricity stations as a way to assure the safety of power elements, after Russia reduced gasoline flows to its biggest customer by using 60% closing week. The move threatens to postpone Germany's gradual progress in the direction of phasing out coal, which became agreed upon as part of the present-day authorities' coalition settlement. However, it improves the probabilities of the United States of America filling its gasoline storage centers by means of the start of winter. Gazprom's (GAZP) supply cuts had positioned an abrupt forestall to what have been a steady rise in garage injections in current weeks. Vice-Chancellor and Economy Minister Robert Habeck additionally said he'll introduce an auction gadget geared toward reducing gasoline consumption from this summer season, however gave few warning signs as to how it would work. Benchmark European fuel costs hit a brand new 3-month high in response. 3. Global shares float higher as China's central financial institution resists temptation to reduce. Lagarde testimony eyed with U.S. markets closed for the Juneteenth excursion. Asian and European markets have drifted ordinarily better. China's significant bank in a single day declined an opportunity to cut its prime loan rate, the maximum essential of its policy interest charges, signaling that it's nevertheless greater concerned approximately universal degrees of leverage in the financial system than about the slowdown in consumption due to the spate of COVID-19 lockdowns. European markets, in the meantime, shrugged off the news that French President Emmanuel Macron had misplaced his parliamentary majority in elections to the Assemblée Nationale at the weekend, with the intense left and right both making gains at the fee of his centrist faction. French bonds underperformed in a quiet morning session for Eurozone debt. The European Central Bank's President Christine Lagarde will address the EU Parliament at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 1300 GMT. 4. Bitcoin bounces. However, DeFi networks still suffering. Bitcoin bounced, snapping a 5-day dropping streak after slumping in brief underneath $20,000 on the weekend. Pressure on less liquid crypto networks endured to create problems. However, Celsius Network, one of a handful of lenders to drop withdrawals final week, stated it might want more time to renew them, at the same time as DeFi platform Bancor suspended its so-called impermanent loss protection mechanism less than a month after launching it. Solend, a network that runs on the Solana blockchain, said it had taken over an outsize function run with the aid of a single player to lessen its systemic danger. 5. Oil promoting slows crude oil prices prolonged their declines, despite the fact that the pace of selling slowed a Friday rout that became pushed by way of recession fears. Newswires pronounced that Libya had managed to repair its output to 800,000 barrels a day as a wave of protests and disruptions to export centers subsided. The outlook for rising U.S. deliver additionally keeps to enhance, with Baker Hughes rig remember having risen via some other 4 to a 26-month excessive of 584 ultimate week.